In this video, we're going to be making a very simple cheese dip for nachos or tortillas or anything that you really want. Maybe you just want to eat cheese dip. And it's so simple because of the limited ingredients. So if we pan over here, you can actually see it's just a little bit of butter, 2 tablespoons of flour, 2 tablespoons of butter, about 6 ounces of cheese, a little bit of salt, and then some chili powder or whatever spices you really want to add to it. But the basic ingredients are really the butter, the flour, and the cheese, and then you can season to taste. So let's put it on a nice low heat. Oh, and a little bit of milk. So we're gonna have a cup of milk. So the first thing we want to do is get this butter completely melted. Really, you just need a whisk. Well, this is good to help melt this butter, and it'll be kind of the main thing you'll need for the rest of the process. So I'll move this around to get it to melt quicker. And it's such a simple recipe. So if you're tired of, that preserved cheese dip that you can get at the store that sits out unrefrigerated and has who knows what that allows cheese to sit unrefrigerated without being refrigerated, this is a good simple cheese dip recipe where you know all the ingredients in it. It has no preservatives. It's nice and fresh, and it's pretty tasty. So now let's whisk this together. There we go, we got some light in there. There we go. Now let's add a little bit of milk. And it's good to add a little bit at a time. Once it's mixed in, add a little bit more. Now this is 2% milk. The original recipe called for whole milk, but I don't think it's gonna make that big of a difference. It's gonna, especially after reheating it a couple times, it's gonna get a little thicker anyways. You can always add more cheese or whatever. It should really just affect the viscosity of it. I mean, we'll see. This is my first time using 2% milk with it. Alright, and the recipe says to keep this on low heat until it coats a spoon. So, you see right now it's actually doing a pretty good job of it. And it's going to thicken up either way. So I'm just going to throw the cheese in there. I think it should be good. Okay. Oh my god. I'm gonna make a mess. And it's hot. Oh, I spilled cheese all over the place. What a mess. No, I didn't spill too much, but I did spill a little bit. Alright, so let's mix that cheese in nice and good. It's definitely going to be a waterier mix, whereas with the whole milk it would be a little more solid, but it should be fine. Once everything gets nice and melted in there, I'm feeling it get nice and thick. So if you want a thicker sauce, definitely use the whole milk. And I mean, I guess more cheese will definitely thicken it up as well. But if you want a waterier sauce, thinner sauce. And then now we can add some seasoning. And it calls for a little 1/4 teaspoon of salt. There we go. And then calls for really just another 1/4 teaspoon of chili powder. We're going to put a little extra, and then I'm going to throw in a little bit of cayenne pepper, because I do like it on the spicier side, and some jalapeno peppers. So depending on how spicy or what you want to spice it with, maybe you have some kind of seasoning that you like, and now is the time that you can add it. So you see how simple that was, and it's mainly the prep, getting all the cheese shredded. I mean, unless if you already buy shredded cheese, but I got block cheese and I shredded it. But it's definitely getting thicker. And that's really starting to look like but something I like to do, I'm at the tail end of this, is add a little bit of the jalapeno brine to that, and then we'll put the actual peppers in there, but the brine will add, you know, that bit of flavor to it. You know what, screw it. It's gonna be a little waterier. That's fine. There we go. And you can keep this on low. And like I said, if you let it sit for a little bit, it's going to thicken over time. So if it's a little too watery, that's fine, because if you just let it sit, that moisture is going to evaporate and it'll get thicker. And especially if you have it multiple times and you have to reheat it a couple times, it's better to start out a little waterier than thicker. But if you want to start out really thick sauce, use whole milk. You can even use half and half for some kind of creamer, and it'll definitely start out a lot thicker, but it will thicken over time. And if you leave the heat on for a little bit, it'll obviously thicken a bit there, and the more times you reheat it, it'll thicken as well. So I hope you enjoyed that video, and happy cooking. Look at that. So I'm gonna let that sit a little bit and let it get a little thicker. So I added all that liquid. But let me this is very watery. Mm. Yeah, I'm gonna let that thicken a little bit. I think if I add a little bit of flour, it'll thicken a little more. There we go. Starting to thicken up a little bit. And it's got a good little kick to it.